Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the first official episode of the Music Office. Hi to all the educators out there that are enjoying their summer and probably starting to think, if you haven't already, starting to think about the school year. I'm really excited for this interview to be put out there because it was fantastic. Kelijah Dunton is a composer that people. If you know him, you probably know him from his work Stillwater. That's been played a lot recently. His catalog is amazing. We talk about a few of his pieces and dive real in depth into a piece called Towers of Bloom. And I can't say enough about Kelijah because I knew his music was good. I listened to it before the interview, believe it or not, and before the interview. But I didn't know what kind of human being he was, and he is just the best. I found myself being so inspired by his words that were not even specifically about music education. Really, the way he goes about his work and composition and his thoughtfulness and things, I find really inspiring. And so that's the thing that I really pulled out of this interview. And I hope that you can listen to this and get the same feelings, inspiration from this amazing human being, Kelijah Dunton. As this is kind of the beginning of something new for me, I just want to ask you to, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the podcast. Comments are great. Likes are awesome. All that stuff, it does help out. So please take a moment to do that. And for all of you educators out there, music educators in particular that are looking for good grade 2 music, you're going to have to keep your eye on Kelijah because we've commissioned him this year to write a piece of grade 2 music for my middle school band that will be premiered in May of 26. So thank you so much. Let's jump into that interview. All right. Well, I'm so happy to be here today with composer Kelijah Dunton. Kelijah, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I think I'm always curious when people have either just a passion for music or it's part of their career, and hopefully those things are commingled,
Yeah.
about like when did music first resonate with you? And I think part of the reason for that is being an educator.
Yeah.
I'm kind of responsible for some of that, like kindling those fires, and it's always good to hear people's stories. So I'm curious when music changed from being just kind of sounds to being a real passion for you. When did that happen?
Yeah. It I ran into a great band director myself when I was in ninth grade. My teacher, Jeff Ball. I hate calling him Jeff because more Mr. Ball is more my style.
Yeah.
Um, but one day, randomly, I'm this freshman kid in ninth grade, and I'm in the cafeteria getting lunch, trying to figure out my life, you know. And here he comes with a clipboard and a pencil and paper. And he's asking everybody at the tables, hey, do you want to join band? Are you interested in this kind of thing? And all of my friends said yes, because, they were more of the adventurous type. And I wasn't. I'm very reserved and very introverted. So I kind of just followed them. I said, yeah, sure. Why not? I don't have anything else going on. So the next day I get into the band room and we're doing playing tests. And I'm trying the flute, I'm trying the brass instruments. I'm good at nothing. I'm good at none of it until I get the saxophone mouthpiece and I try it and I'm like, oh, I could finally make a sound. Look at that. And from then on out, I kind of fell in love with it. From there, I played saxophone all 4 years of high school, and he was a great teacher for me, and he instilled that fire, that musical passion within me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a great story for, I think, for a few reasons. One, I love it that you were in some ways a late comer. You know,
Yeah.
like we focus so much on getting kids started in fifth grade, sixth grade. I've had students be very successful that have started in high school.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, and obviously you found some success in the music world having started
Yeah.
in ninth grade.
Yeah. Hmm.
Did it feel like when you were starting as a high schooler, did it feel like I got a lot of stuff to learn, or were you just kind of in it to do what you could?
I just I just kind of I operated like a kid. Like I was just a kid that found something new that I love to do. And so I would take my sax home every day and practice for 3 hours. And I just it was something different in my life
Yeah,
that I really enjoyed.
yeah.
I still do.
Um, I want to read this from your website because I think it ties in
Mhm.
so beautifully to like your experience, and then
Yeah.
on the flip side, what you're trying to create for other people. And so I'm going to read this quote from your website. My
Okay.
real passion and goal in life is to show other young men and women like me that there are so many other ways out of that dark place we were raised into. Through music, I want to help us all rise out of the pain we had to endure as kids. And I think that I can't speak for all educators, but I would say that we see that in music. I know people see it in
Mhm.
athletics and other things as well
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
Um, but so I guess what I'm going to go turn into a question then is how,
Mhm.
as a composer, it's easy for me to see that because I'm a teacher. I can see that how I'm going to do that. How, as a
Yeah.
composer, do you do that?
I think just your mere existence sometimes is enough. A lot of the time, the children are looking for their outlet. They're looking for that person to look to and say, I can be like that. I can do that. And sometimes all you need is a face to show them. For example, for me, music composing didn't even become an idea in my head until I met a composer, until I met Michael Markowski. He came into our band room, and that was the first time I connected the name to a face. And I said, oh, this is not just some dead guy from 100 years ago. He lives across the street. It became real for me then. And when it comes to influencing, or I guess breathing life into children as an educator, I think you can relate best to this is that sometimes all you need to do is let them know, hey, you can do this. This is for you. You do belong here. And
Yeah.
sometimes just showing up for them is everything.
That first thing you said is really the connection for me to you because
Mm.
I have through the inspiration of Chris Gleason, who started a commission project for his students
Uh-huh.
in Sun Prairie.
Yeah.
I have taken that to be I want to do that for my students every year is have a composer come in and work with students on a new piece of music, and that's the reason we first got connected. I don't. There's not really much to talk about on that front yet, but I will tell people that are listening, pay attention because we are working on a collaboration with Kelijah Dunton, and it's going to be the spring of 2026.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. So you hit on this a little bit too. That composition didn't even come as a initial idea for you. Were you thinking about other avenues in music at that point, or was that the first thing that was like, oh, that feels right?
Well, I wanted to be, weirdly enough, I thought I was a decent enough classical saxophone player. I wanted to kind of be like a Otis Murphy, that kind, and have that kind of classical sound. But I soon started to realize that, after meeting a lot of different sax players my age across the city, because I started in high school, they started way before I did. And so I realized, okay, maybe this is not the path I ought to go down. Um, but I was still kind of in the air about what I really wanted to do, what I wanted to go to college for, what I wanted to do with my life. And so when I met Michael Markowski, I said to myself, I want to do what he did for me. I want to create music that moves people. And that's what I've been working towards for about 6 years now.
Yeah. Well, I think that, you know, I'm going to use Stillwater because at least for me, that was my first um, introduction to your music. I feel
Yeah.
like that was a launching piece for you. Would that be incorrect? Did you have any? I
Yes.
mean, that felt like when I would when I go to clinics, it was like somebody somewhere was performing Stillwater.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. 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 That's exactly it. Stillwater was the moment, I guess, for me in my early career that kind of put me in front of eyes,
Yeah.
and it was the second piece I've written up until that point, and it basically symbolized my acceptance, or in another way, it symbolized me finally feeling like I found a community where I belong, the band community. And that's that has a that piece has a special place in my heart because of that.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful
Yeah.
piece. I haven't been able to conduct it yet.
Mhm.
Um, but it's on my list. I have the score sitting right here for the
Oh,
record.
awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
And not just because we're talking, but I do middle school bands now, so it's a little harder to program things
Yeah.
like Stillwater
Yeah.
and actually this is a great time for us to kind of transition the conversation into Towers of Bloom. I told you that I kind of want to talk about one piece specifically, and I thought about talking about Stillwater, but I was like, I think a lot of people have probably heard that one in the band community by now. So
Yeah.
is this your latest piece? I couldn't quite tell from your website. Is this the last thing that you've published?
Yes. Yeah. This is the official last thing. Yeah.
Okay. So this, I want to tell you this too, that getting ready for this interview, I like to do a little, as much research as I can. It does end up being a lot,
Yeah.
but one of the easy things is to go to somebody's website and just listen to stuff and look at perusal scores and things like that. And this one it hit me right away. I was like, oh, this is such a good piece.
Thank you.
Other
Thank you.
one that, I mean, I'm going to listen to it a bunch more times, but Letters.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
that one. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was able to buy stock in a piece, I would buy stock in that right now, because I think that is that a pretty new release too?
It was actually 2021. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
I guess I didn't listen to it before when I was on your website, and I think the last week, my son can sing some of the motives on it now because I've listened to it so much this week. So
Yeah.
Anyway, we are going to talk about Towers of Bloom a little bit right now.
Yeah.
And we can't really. I found out quickly when I was listening to the music and then reading some of the notes that it would be an injustice, maybe, or we're not doing our jobs fully if we don't take some time to talk about the Third Street Music School in New York that you wrote this for. So
yes,
I'm going to give kind of I'm guessing not everybody knows about Third Street Music School. And so I'm playing with my new little camera thing here. So
awesome.
I'm trusting that you can see the website. I should probably just ask that. And we don't really need the website. I just thought it was a good visual for people. People need to visit this website. I found it so fascinating. Historically, I didn't even know about these settlement schools. My basic understanding is that in the 1890s, communities developed these settlement schools that were present in New York. In particular, they were for immigrants to help clothe, feed, and just generally take care of them. What a great lesson for all of us to be listening to right now is what the New Yorkers in the 1890s did to welcome the immigrants was to take care of them.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Huge lesson.
Yep. And then Emily Wagner comes along at that time, and she knew that music was part of taking care of the whole person. Another lesson, like these two are big lessons. Music is part of taking care of the whole person.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So that's our brief history. there's anybody that's interested, go to the website. There's lots of things to read here. The names of the people that have, you know, supported the school. I mean, Aaron Copeland's name comes up, Leonard Bernstein, um, and now Kelijah Dunton's name will come up too because you wrote this piece for them. But
Yes.
you're an alumnus, so I'm going to stop talking because I've been talking for a little bit here. How did you get connected to this school?
So I went to the Grand Street campus. That was my high school name, and our band program was relatively. I actually know now it's not small; it's huge. It has about maybe 6 bands in it. But our school had a lot of very talented musicians during my year, and we were finding different programs to get into when we had free time. And so one of the programs that we stumbled upon was ISO, or the Third Street Music School. And it's for, at the time, I didn't know this. I didn't know that it was tuition based. I had heard through the grapevine, I should have asked the directors, but I heard through the grapevine that it was tuition based and that you needed to pay in order to be a part of the group. I was wrong. I was dead wrong. I was under the assumption that I needed money to do it. I was a poor kid. I came from the inner city. I was raised by a single dad. I didn't really have the money to put into my skills as a musician. So what ended up happening was I was told after that no, all kids could join. It was a program for me. It was a program for kids that couldn't. And I didn't know. And that's why I cherish that program so much, because it gives kids an opportunity to be around the best in the city.
Yeah.
It's really a great experience.
Yeah, I went to YouTube and I started listening. I think the night that I emailed you, I was listening to them play Holst First Suite at Carnegie Hall.
Oh yeah.
And there's some other recordings too. Really top-notch ensemble. I mean, really,
they're great.
Really good. Yes,
they're great. When it comes to Towers of Bloom, the reason why I gave it that title is because the program has lasted for 130 years. This is a 130-year anniversary. And so if you think about Towers as being a strong, standing, almost fortress-like structure, that represents the program as a whole to me. And then the result of their strength as a program creates the bloom you see in their students. It creates the blossoming of talent, and they have it.
Yeah,
they have it.
Great title. Great title.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think my next question is going to be then digging into that, because you just described what Towers of Bloom was. I'm just going to summarize it as Towers being about being strong and unshakable, foundational, and Bloom is growth and evolution. So how then do you as a composer translate that into your music? Can you talk about that a little bit, specifically with Towers?
Yeah, so specifically in some of the melodic lines, the harmonies, I like to call them passion chords, if you will, or very colorful, kind of expressive passages within the piece. And I wanted it to be fanfare also in the brass to create that solid, structured foundation. And then throughout the piece, you have these beautiful, blossoming, expressive melodies that are very shapely. And I think it all kind of comes together to represent the message I'm trying to give to everyone, is that this program, and not only this program, but other programs like this, are necessary for children to really blossom into what they can be as musicians.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'm curious about then how you got connected to write a piece for the school, because are you connected there still? Do you know the faculty?
Yes.
Or did they? Okay.
Yeah. So the current director is Paul Korn, and he's a brilliant man, brilliant saxophonist. He's been an educator for about 20 years or plus, if I'm not mistaken. He's very, very accomplished as an educator. And he approached me about commissioning or writing something for his group, rather. And I immediately accepted. I knew what the program was. I knew the caliber of musician they had, and um, I fell in love with the idea. He basically gave me free reign, free creative reign to do whatever I wanted to do with the piece. So I took that. I took those liberties, and it paid off.
Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
like I think so. I do a community band every summer,
Awesome.
and we're gonna do movie music this summer. But I'm gonna put
Mhm.
one of your pieces in because we are going to use it as a
Oh,
fundraiser for our composer collaboration project.
awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
and I haven't decided yet. Is Towers of Bloom available for?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
sorry, that was a little side business for anybody still listening.
Yeah.
um, so maybe this might be a weird question,
Mhm.
but were there any specific memories that you have from your time at ISO that
Mhm.
somehow weave their way into, like, I don't know, maybe a melodic motif or something like that? Like, do you connect
Mhm.
with music in that way?
I do actually. That's actually very fascinating question I've never been asked before. Yes, there was a moment when we were in rehearsal, and I can't even remember the piece that we were playing, but it was so pretty, or the moment was so pretty. And here I am sitting in the sax section, and I feel at the time I felt as if I maybe what weren't good enough to be there, because everyone around me, they started their instrument in fifth, sixth grade. They're really good. They've been getting almost statewide attention. And here I am, the kid from the inner city. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying. And I remember there was just one piece that we played, and there was a certain passage in it, and it was so beautiful. And so um, I can't even find the words. If I come up with a piece, I'll say what it is. But what it made me when I was writing the piece, when I was writing Towers, I thought back to that moment, and I wanted to recreate that for someone else in the group. Maybe someone else in the group currently maybe felt the same way I did. And maybe that was the moment where it clicked for them that they belonged. That's really important to me. I think when a kid feels that they have a place, they become a part of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh God, I love that so
Mhm.
much. It makes
Yeah.
me so excited to
Uh-huh.
that my students are going to get to have that experience with you, with somebody that's interested in how do I do my job to make these kids feel included. Whatever
Yes.
that job is, right? But
Yeah.
you as a composer, I love that you're
Mhm.
thinking about that.
For sure. Thank you.
Okay, so this is a personal curiosity for me. I think
Mhm.
I've asked just about every composer this, but I I tend to think that most composers probably get moments of writer's block
Yes.
where you just can't get the idea either to the end line or through this section.
Yeah.
And if there's something specific with Towers,
Mhm.
you can relate it to that. But even just in general, when you hit
Yeah.
those moments, where do you find your inspiration to get through?
I find when when I'm searching for the little nugget, I call it a golden nugget of truth in a way that every piece kind of starts out. Think of it more like a seed. You're trying to find that seed, and then you're trying to nourish it so that the piece or the plant will grow. And when I'm struggling to find that, I usually find solace in quiet. If I just sit with myself and sit with my thoughts, it opens my mind up to be more creative. Because if I'm being honest with you, the way I am in everyday life, I'm always listening to something. I'm always listening to a podcast or a book or or music. And so when I'm writing and I find a moment to where I can't go any further, or I'm struggling to find that nugget, I just sit with myself and I just think, but not about the music, just let my mind go wherever. And eventually it comes,
Hmm.
eventually. But patience is everything with this.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
like,
why it's yeah. Mhm.
well, I was gonna say I like that because I have late in my life I've found like meditation and mindfulness to help me, whether it's with anxiety or work stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
And so that kind of sounds like what you do is you just take some mindfulness time.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I think that is necessary for the mind or the creative part of the mind to finally be exercised. Um, I think it's probably it's probably if I have a if I'm trying if I have an issue with the music that I'm writing, I can't find that piece that I want, then I'm probably not bored enough. I think as a creative, you need to be bored more often because that's where all the fun stuff happens. You know,
Yeah.
as a kid, I think that's why when we become adults, we kind of lose our creative spirit a little bit, is because we have so much going on. It's hard to say I'm bored. But
Hmm.
as a kid, I used to be bored often, and that's where all the wacky ideas come from, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I am going to remember that because I've got a 12-year-old that probably
Mhm.
right now is upstairs feeling
Yeah.
bored and
Yep.
probably wants me to entertain him, but I'm just
Mhm.
going to have him start writing some music maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I made a little bit of a leap that it's probably not that big of a leap
Huh?
because I made it when I was reading your website.
Huh.
You were talking about one of your musical experiences, and you had the lines in there, knees weak, palms are sweaty. And so I was like, oh, I got a
Yeah.
feeling that this guy probably is a hip hop fan.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and and I'm curious about that because I don't think I would listen to your music and be like, oh, it comes from a hip hop background.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was listening to Towers of Bloom, and there's this one, I might be singing it wrong, but I'm gonna give it a try. There's this one like
Mhm.
motive that ba 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 ba. Is that right? Is that
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
in the ballpark at least? And I
Yeah.
was like, well, that's not all that different from like a hook, that gets
Yes. Yes.
used.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
as I'm listening to the piece, and this is a little bit, we
Mhm.
study this kind of stuff, and when we're getting, when we're in school studying music. But as I
Yeah.
was listening to it, I was like, oh boy, that hook is
Mhm.
everywhere in this piece. It's
Yes.
and it's just, and so maybe that's a leap to say that it's from a love of hip
Mhm.
hop music or from an
No, no,
appreciation of it. But
no, not a leap, not a leap at all. That is exactly where a lot of my inspiration comes from. A lot of the ideas that I use are coming from hip hop and R&B. You can credit the rhythm, the rhythmic, I guess, syntax from the hip hop, and then you can credit the harmonies from R&B. I'm a huge fan of those two genres, and you'll find a lot of that within my music. Letters actually has a lot of that going on in different parts, and some of it even has some rock influences too. That I grew up. I had an emo phase. Okay, I used to listen to a lot of alternative or some heavy metal here and there. But I'm all over the place when it comes to musical influences.
yeah, well, I love
Mhm.
when I discover things like that. I imagine most appreciators do, because then
Mhm.
you start listening for it in other places. And I
Mhm.
won't go in like deep into the score here for people, but
Yeah.
that little motif, it's super clever. There's a couple spots where I was like,
Mhm.
oh, there it is. Like you don't hear it
Yeah.
right away, but if you
Yeah.
listen, there it
Yeah.
is.
There it is again. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's what I consider the nugget. It's the thing that is common in all areas of the piece that you kind of try to stick to. It's kind of like an identifiable soul in every piece, and it stays consistent throughout it.
Yeah, yeah, I
Mhm.
love that. Okay, so
Yeah.
since we're on this subject, I'm also curious for
Mhm.
everybody, but a composer in particular.
Yeah.
If like, what are you listening to right now? Like, what
I
kind of music are you listening to? What artists?
mhm. I listen to, again, a lot of hip hop, a lot of R&B, a lot of this might throw you for a loop, but I listen to a lot of Japanese music. Yeah. I was a huge anime fan in high school. I was kind of a nerd in that way. Um, so I still listen to a lot of Eastern music. I love the harmonies and the sounds that they come up with. And also, what's another genre? Still listen to rock here and there. I'm a huge 80s music fan, so anything 80s, I just love the synths. I'm a synth lover, to be honest. As far as wind band, I would have to go. I know you didn't ask, but I remember we're
Uh,
here, right?
yeah, we're here,
So
right?
yeah. So, Michael Markowski, he's probably my favorite. John Mackey, um, Frank Kelly, basically all of the giants. Then you have Kataj, Kevin Day. Um, I love the way that they write. And yeah, I'm just a massive fan of a lot of different genres of music.
But you had mentioned when you were talking about some of the like musical influences that you listen
Yep,
to a lot of Japanese and Eastern music.
yep.
Do you have any music that has that inspiration in it?
Stillwater. Funny enough.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
because for example, so like the chord progression that I used at a bar 16 when it has its first moment, its first arrival point, it is common, very common. You'll find in Japanese music specifically, and they call it the Royal Road progression. It sounds very reflective, and it's honestly the most gorgeous thing I've ever heard in my life, and I hear it often in that kind of music. So I just said, what if I tried to put that in a wind band context, and would it even work? And sure enough, it did. It did, and it's beautiful to me. You know.
Yeah, great.
Mhm. So, for example, do you know the song "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley?
Uh, how could you be
I
a
know,
living,
right?
breathing
I know.
human being?
Right, right. That's like saying, "Hey, do you know what Thriller is?" Like, okay, all right. But no, yeah, that makes sense. So that song has that kind of progression in it. If you think about the harmonies in that, it's pretty much the same thing. It's very Eastern sounding, but people don't make that connection because they haven't listened to Japanese music often. But if I sent you some songs, you'd be like, oh, I hear it. Like it's in there and it's in Stillwater and it's just really cool.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is really cool. I love
Mhm.
things like that too. Is like, I mean, if you sat down at a table and said, "Okay, folks, we're going to talk about Rick Astley, uh, Japanese music, and
Yeah.
Kelijah Dunton Stillwater," it'd be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay,
All
what is
right.
the connection there?"
Right. Right. It's like, okay, how do those things link together? Yeah. Yeah.
You have like kind of a featured composer on your website, somebody else.
Yes.
Um, uh,
Yes.
can you tell me about it's her? I'm really sorry. I'm not finding her right now.
Mhm.
Can you tell me about
Oh yeah.
this person?
Yes. So her name is Elizabeth Pampa, or you can call her Lizzie Pampa for short. And she's a really great new composer that, well, newer than me, uh, but she's really good, really
Yeah.
good. And I really like the way she writes. And I really wanted to give composers a shout out, especially those that are just coming out of college and that kind of want that that exposure a little bit. Um, I think that's important for them. I've so as far as college goes, I'm not a college graduate. I didn't formally go to school for music. So I know a lot of people who have, and they would love the same opportunities that I have in terms of exposure and getting their stuff pushed out. And I just wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to
Yeah.
help them any way I could.
Well,
So
I admire that a lot. The piece is called
yeah,
Wolf Hunt for anybody interested. I've
thank you.
listened to it. It's a good piece of music.
Hmm. For sure. No, she's great.
So any new works that are upcoming for you that we can be watching out for?
I had I just released my newest piece a couple days ago. It's titled Avernus, Averns. You can find that on YouTube to listen to it on my YouTube page. And so far, it's not going to be available for purchase until November 1st because it was a commission. So I do give the commissioning party the right to premiere and to kind of give them a couple of months of exclusivity. And I think that piece is it's really talk about rock and roll. There's a lot of stuff in there that I think people would enjoy, and also a lot of hip hop fans would enjoy it too.
Okay. What grade level is that for?
It's about a 4.5. It's on the
Okay.
harder side. Yeah. It's actually about if you know, I've been reading up on Dante's Inferno,
Oh yeah.
the Divine Comedy, and the title Avernus in within the book it's just referencing the first gate of hell, and so I'm just saying in the piece that it'll be about a monster that breaks out of hell and seeks revenge on humanity or something like that. So
Yeah.
kind of like
I've
Godzilla, but not.
I've tried to
Mhm.
read Dante's Inferno. I maybe need to try
Yeah.
again now that I'm older,
Mhm.
but I've
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
not been able to finish it. It's a
Ah,
tough read.
it is rough. Yes.
I think this goes without say, but oh, by the way, I'll put links to anything
Mm.
we've talked about, whether it's YouTube videos, your website. Um,
Awesome.
I'll put a link to Avernus in the description of the video. Um,
Awesome.
the part that I think goes without say, but I want to encourage people. So my question is, are you accepting commissions right now? Is your calendar open?
Yes. Yes. Especially for the seasons in 26 and 27. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think this is a really important thing to highlight with anybody that's listening,
Mhm.
because the conversation that Kelijah and I are having right now is very similar to the conversations that you would have with a composer when you're interested in collaborating.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the sense that it's two people talking about the things they love about band and composition. And I have yet to run into a composer that has been annoyed with me for contacting them, that has been rude in any way.
Yeah.
I want to encourage people, band directors, other music teachers out there, contact people like Kelijah. It is such a great experience for your students to get to be a part of that process. Um, and so, yeah, so contact Kelijah or your
Awesome.
whoever else you know.
Or whoever else. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be me, but
Um, well, that kind of brings me to the end of our questions. I'm sure there's a million other things we can talk about, but is there
yeah.
anything else coming up for you? I maybe cut you short. Is there any other works that are coming up for you that we should be paying attention to?
Yes, I have two middle school pieces that I'll be releasing by the end of this year, and then also another. So the middle school pieces are grade twos, both of them, and then the third piece will be a grade three for more of the. It's I would like to say it's for the high school group, but anybody can play it. Anybody can play it. It'll be that kind of piece.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for those.
I taught in the high school for about 10 years before I started my job in the middle school in this school district.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit, well, I think one of the things I was concerned about was that lower level music. I was doing a lot of 3s and 4s and stuff with my high school groups.
Yeah.
I've found that I really like 2s.
Yeah.
I think that I know that as a composer, like there's limits, but there seems to be enough of a palette that opens up at the grade level 2 that there's a lot of creativity that can happen with that.
Absolutely.
I really salute composers that take on the 1.5 and lower, because Philip Spark once said he tried to get a friend composer to write a piece for grade 1 band, And he said,
Yeah.
I would like you to write a novel without the letter R.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That is a beautiful way to put it. Yes, exactly. So, as a like if you're a creator of any kind and if you've been commissioned to write something or create anything, you usually are given parameters to operate in. And so the way I like to look at it is the greater grade level that in this case, the band director is asking for, the bigger your box is. So if it's a grade 5 or 6, you can pretty much throw the box away. You can basically do whatever. And then 4 on down, your box gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so you have to learn. That's why grade ones and 1.5s are so hard to write, is because you have so much that is surrounding the box that you want to let in, but there's only so much space. The box is very tiny.
Yeah.
So you have to operate within it and also maintain your voice. And that's hard. It's very
Yeah.
hard to do. And a lot of the time you have 2 to 3 key signatures you can use, or uh, you're operating within the first 5 notes, or sometimes within the first 7 or an octave. It's very constrained.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of that stuff, like no real slight intended to anybody. It sounds so much the same because of, like you said, that small box. It's so
Yeah.
hard to get things. Well, I suppose it's, again, like you said, to get it to be your voice when you have to
Yeah.
live in that box.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And what I've realized, the reason why it's so hard for me to do it is because the harmonic language that I like to commonly use, it just can't happen at the lower grade level. Good luck tuning sevenths and ninth chords, with a beginning middle school band. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
mhm.
I uh I'm so excited to get to work with you more.
Awesome.
I anybody, I don't know what part of the interview I'm going to keep in, because we talked about this a little bit beforehand and in the middle, but
Yeah.
Kelijah is going to be writing a piece for my 8th grade band this next year. And here's the reason I'm excited. One, like I said before, if I could buy stock in somebody's music, I would buy it in yours. I really love it right
Thank you.
now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, in all honesty, this is, if it's not more important, it ties for second. You're a great human being. I know
Thank
this
you.
from the conversation, from reading your website, from your
Mm.
thoughtfulness on how you're writing music for kids to try to connect them to each other.
Yeah.
And I want our students to see more of that, probably especially in today's culture where
Oh yeah.
we are so combative.
Yes.
If we could have more people like you trying to bring
Mhm.
us together.
Yeah.
So thank you for being the human being you are, in addition to the composer you are. This is going to be
Thank
a
you.
fun next year.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your very kind words. That means a lot. No, you're right. In this world right now, there's too much of this, too much pulling, and it's only so much we can take. Our connection to each other is, I see it sometimes as flimsy as a rubber band. And if you pull too hard, it pops. And I don't want to do that. I want to keep everything together, especially in the band world. We have to stick together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
Well, I can't thank you enough for taking some time to
Yeah,
talk.
I loved it.
I look
Yeah.
forward to more down the road, and
Yes.
connecting with you on this piece for the 8th grade band.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. It's really nice to speak with you, because we've been in communication for a little while. So yeah, thank you for all of this. Thank you for the opportunity as well to create more memories for kids. I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing. That's what I'm really after.